Hi, welcome to One for the Road, where we navigate sobriety, recovery, and life in general. Tune in as we share our experience and opinions while answering any questions you may have. I'm Marissa, and this is Judy.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. Big news, big exciting news. We're on Spotify now. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. Right. Spotify and working on all the other audio.
Yeah, Apple and Google and all of your Amazon Music. I think we should be on Amazon Music too. Just thought of that.
Perfect. Okay.
Check it out. Check
us out there. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about. And yeah, you guys know what to do.
Right.
So yeah, okay. All right. So today,
yes,
we are going to talk about relapse. Should be an interesting topic because the alcoholic relapse is not a part of my story, but it is a part of yours.
For sure.
And so we're gonna discuss what that looks like, and just gonna hear your experience, and I'll relate as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, the hows and the whys of relapse.
Right. So tell me all about the relapse. Like what happens? Like what's going on in that moment where you've decided, like, I'm no longer doing this thing and now I'm going to do this thing. What is the relapse?
I'm gonna go back to the poison, right? Like that's like
right.
Hard head. I picked this, right? I made the suggestion because I had a couple people in my life that when I went back out, first of all, they didn't get it, right? And then having conversations with other people who are in the program, like, can't wrap their mind around the fact that somebody got sober, saw the stuff that was happening, good stuff, right? And then decided to chuck it all away. And it's hard sometimes for people to understand. I don't know if I'll be able to give you a clear enough picture. However, what it looks like for me is that I was losing things, right? There was no DUI, there was no jail time, none of those things. But personally, things that I valued, relationships, I didn't lose a job. None of those things happened in order for me to get sober. But losing personal relationships, that was enough for me to reach out, right? Get some help, and that internal thing, and not liking myself. But after a few months in sobriety, right, and in doing the things that people told me to do, I started to get those things back. And the recovery thing didn't seem so hard, right? And so if I just do this thing and I can maintain these relationships, right, and I can feel better, easy peasy, right? And what happened is that then that ego slipped in. And that's really what I think for me, what it looked like. I thought, well, look how great everything got so quickly. This is so awesome. Right. And maybe I could just have a drink. Maybe I could just, do that line. Maybe. And I started playing around with that. And I was never honest with anybody who was in my circle of trusted advisors that those were the thoughts I was entertaining. Right. And then, because at the time my mom had bought a house together because of whatever, her being sick. She was going on a trip, and circumstances in my life, it was a breakup and real high drama sort of stuff, which didn't necessarily make me want to drink at the time. But 2 weeks later, knowing that my mom was heading off to Italy and all of these things it's kind of like the stars aligned,
Sure.
And I started planning, right? I started like, well, we'll have this party. I don't need to drink. We'll do this and we'll do this. And I just knew, right? It just seemed like, well, I did the sober thing. The relationships fell apart anyway. My mom is gone. I could just drink while she's gone.
Mom's away.
Right. And here's the thing, and I'm in my 40s.
Right.
And I'm like planning, those all should have been indicators, right? And had I just been honest with one person that this is what I was doing. You see, the people I was talking to were not alcoholics or drug addicts. At least they didn't think they were. And, they didn't they weren't doing what I was doing. And so when I said we're going to have these things to drink, everybody was like, cool, awesome. Like I had everybody on board, right?
Nobody questioned.
I got the team together, right?
Thought you were sober. Thought we weren't doing that. Nobody questioned.
Nobody
Which is the perfect kind of people audience you want.
Sure.
You have a reservation that you may want to drink again. Exactly. Someone to just, no, nothing to see here.
Yeah. I mean, those are the people, right? Like, so I invited all the old friends. I invited my old friends, cocaine and alcohol, to the party, and that's what it was. I was out there for a couple months, and it turned into one of those things where, God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. I'll try to synopsize the story, but I went with a girlfriend to, Lake Geneva, which, Lake town here in, Illinois. And we were drinking and we were partying and doing all the stuff. And everywhere we went, dude, the car just died out. It would not start. Brand new car. And it just wouldn't start. So off to AutoZone, trying to get a battery and do all the things, right, to keep the weekend going. And, AutoZone said, nope, battery's under the seat, got to take it to the dealer. And so, so we decided to go home. And then I never told anybody that I got back. I just stayed in my house and reevaluated what I did. And I looked at all of the events at 3 or 4 different places, never being able to get to the next place with the next drink. And I thought, I hear you, right? Like, I get it. It's time to stop. And so that's what it looked like for me. My ego got in the way. I thought I could just do the one. I thought I could this. Sure. I didn't call anybody and tell on myself. I played around with it, and that was it. I will say this, it didn't get any better. Get any better, right? It wasn't any easier. There was no slow buildup, a handle of vodka, 8 ball of Coke. Like, it was immediate. So it's like I lost no time. And, and I had 11 months sober. And that's still today, if I want to play around with that, is a real blow to my ego, right? Like, you couldn't.
Well, yeah, but that's what I've learned watching a lot of people in recovery come in. And listen, I haven't had that happen yet, right? Like, I've been too terrified for the past however many years that I've been working on myself and staying in recovery. I haven't had that happen yet. It doesn't matter whether you have 11 months and you go back out drinking. We know, right? We know people that have 22 years and they went back out drinking. You hear about people, and what I've noticed and what I hear a lot of people say is, well, if you believe what I believe about alcoholism as a disease, right? It's a disease of perception, and, it's a thinking disease and everything. And I can see, just because I haven't picked up a drink doesn't mean it hasn't crossed my mind, right? When I get to that point in my life of what's the point, right? With you, like, your relationships failing and everything. Well, what's the point? Why am I doing all of this? If things aren't working out the way I thought they should, then why am I getting sober? Like, I'm going to drink at you because I've been in those positions. I've sat in, grocery store parking lots and been like, fuck it. Let's just, whatever. And for whatever reason, fear, it comes down to fear for me. That hasn't been my story yet, and hopefully it never will be, but I'm not too arrogant to think that it can't happen to me, because the people that work, that do the best of things, they do all the therapy and all the programs and all the meetings and all the this and all of that, sometimes they go back out too. And most people, if you listen to them, they don't know at what moment it happened. They don't know exactly what transpired, but I hear a lot of people say, like, they look back and, they got sober and then started doing a handful of things to improve their life and to work on their mental and emotional and spiritual state. And then they slowly stopped doing that stuff. And then those good old ideas come back in, because drinking was always a good solution to my problem,
Right.
And I haven't had an alcoholic relapse, but I was a smoker for 11 years and I quit smoking. I was sober for about 3 years. And I quit smoking cigarettes. And let me tell you something, people who quit smoking cigarettes are just as much in recovery as someone who, the cocaine, the heroin, the alcohol, whatever, just as much, because quitting smoking was the hardest thing I have ever done. And I think about smoking a cigarette every day. I do not think about drinking every day. And trust me, I loved to drink. And if I could do it without consequences, I'd still be doing it. But quitting smoking was the hardest thing that I have ever done. And I did it cold turkey. And then, things, right, my emotional state would get to me and I'm just going to have a cigarette, which, if I have to choose today between a cigarette and a drink, I'm going to choose a cigarette, right?
For sure. Yeah.
But what I learned was, because I have bought packs of cigarettes, right? I'm trying to relate here, but I have bought packs of cigarettes and I have smoked, and I got to tell you something, it's not the same, right? Like it's never the same as you think it's going to be.
Nope.
That's what I realized. But something in my brain is still like, smoke the whole pack, just smoke the whole pack all in one day, right? Because I was a pack a day smoker at the end of my smoking. Like, what the hell, and the mental, right? It's all about the mental for me. Like,
sure.
It just has that.
And that was the party, right? I'm thinking, like, you're talking about it, and I'm thinking the party, even though the breakup and all of that stuff happened, I was refocused and doubled down on my efforts. I was happy and I was excited. So it wasn't like just, laying in bed, crying, listening to sad music, drinking and whatever. There was music and it was lively, and there was a lot of laughing and card playing, like I totally flipped the script. If I'm going to drink, I'm turning it into this fun event. And it was demoralizing. I think that's really where it came down to. It was demoralizing. I really thought I could do it, and I don't know what possessed me to think that I could. And, and it's interesting to me, being 11 months sober, like I knew who to talk to and who not to talk to. I didn't necessarily want to be stopped, and so I picked, like you said, the right audience in order to accomplish my goals. If I'm not careful today, those are the things I can still do, even if it's not about drinking or drugging. If I just want somebody to agree with me, I know who to call. Right. Right. The difference with you is that you're like, okay, bitch, now that we got this part done, let's talk about the real deal.
Right.
But I mean, there are people who will not call me on my shit. And I need that sort of stuff. I don't need you to make me feel bad, but I need you to have me think, and think with a sober mind, not with the romanticizing of what drinking and drugging will do. Because the truth was, it wasn't romantic and it wasn't beautiful. If I think long and hard about it, I play that all the way through to the end, right? That's what we say. Play the tape through all the way till the end. Because when I play it, I just want to remember the good stuff. I don't necessarily want to remember the bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, and as an alcoholic, the reality is that, at least like for me, right, the thought of drinking is a default behavior, right? It's what I've always done. And so there's all that retraining of the brain. And, because trust me, there are times that I think, well, fuck it, I just want to drink. And I do I love my life sober and I love everything about it. And I live a really, really amazing life today, but still, there are times where I'm like, this nice, bright, sunshiny day and I'm off, it'd be real nice to have a drink. And
I got gas yesterday and, at the gas station, and there was a sign 18 pack for like $12. I'm like, good price. And I'm like, wait, you don't drink. Like, I mean,
get out of there.
Yeah. It's like, I was just getting gas, but that's that's just, it just comes in. And then I can laugh at myself because I'm like, oh yeah, you don't drink. That's right. But like, I can still acknowledge those things. And, if I'm not careful, that 18 pack for $12, it's less than $1 a beer. Sounds like a great deal.
It does sound, I'm like, damn, nice.
Yeah. Right. Like I heard an old timer say once, everything I own fits into a shot glass.
Right.
And I don't know if I've said it on here or not. I know I've said it because that struck a chord with me, and it's true. Right. All it is going to take is for me to not do that daily stuff. That daily thing, right? Get myself right with my fellows, with my higher power, whatever, and then go about my business. It's just going to take that one thing. And I can put everything that I've got and everything that I've worked so hard for in sobriety into that shot glass, and it will be gone. It's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because that's really been my experience.
Well, and it goes quick. I see people, for as quickly as people get some stuff back, and, you really do in sobriety and in recovery, when you're genuinely working on yourself and doing all these things and healing, you get it back a lot quicker than you think.
Sure.
But for as quickly as it comes back, it goes just as quickly too, And I think, it's important. Relapse is important to talk about. And it's important to say, like, recovery is a process.
Right.
And relapses happen. And if you fall off, get back on the horse, right? Like there's that old saying, because some of the most amazing people I know, some of the most spiritual, some of the most level-headed, stable people that I know that are, doing this sobriety recovery thing are people who have come in and out and in and out and in and out because they needed it, right? Because they needed to learn something, because I have yet to hear somebody go back out and come back in and say, yeah, I didn't learn anything.
For sure.
And it's really great out there, but it's whatever, and so recovery really is a process, right?
Yeah.
And relapses do happen, and they are okay. They don't have to be a part of your story, but if they are, it's absolutely okay. It's what you do with it, right? Like when we fall off the wagon, when we fall off the horse, fall off your motorcycle, fall off your bike, like
fall off your bike.
You have to get back up there, and you have to keep trying, because one day it's going to stick. And I keep going back to the cigarette thing, because that was one of the like most glaring things. But they say it takes like 9 or 11 times trying to quit smoking before people will actually succeed. And I don't know what the statistic is for the alcoholic or the drug addict or whatever. I don't know what that is, because the cigarettes, I mean, I know people are probably like, oh God, whatever. But have you met someone who's tried to quit smoking?
Yeah.
Like, it is hard, but you keep trying, you keep, and there's no shame in it, right? Because I think a lot of people, and especially whatever path you choose to use to get sober or be in any sort of recovery, people can shame you. There people that are very intolerant and, oh, well, I did it, one shot. Like, well, good for you. Congratulations.
Well,
right?
and that was my experience, right? When I was saying people don't, they just keep saying, I just don't get it. I just don't, and like angry. And I was like, I'm telling you how it worked. I'm telling you what it looked like. Yeah.
That's what I have to tell you. Those aren't your people.
I'm telling you what it looked like. I'm telling you what it looked like for me, right? And how it happened. It was no, like, I just woke up and said, this is it, right? I got into recovery slowly. And I'd like to say that I got out slowly as well, and I have to agree with you on that. Some of the people that I know in the program that are really, really just like the people I want to be, right? When I grow up, those are the people, they've relapsed, and I think that there is a certain amount of thing. Like for me, like I had to test those waters, right? I had to just had to be 100% sure, but when I got back, I doubled down, right? And that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think that, this get back to a solution, right? Like if you're thinking about drinking, call a trusted person, right? A trusted advisor, you call somebody who's working a recovery program that you trust and talk to them, right? Whatever. I mean, don't pick the audience that's going to tell you it's all good. You could just drink today, because here's the thing. I thought it was just going to be a one night deal, right? Well, maybe a couple days because of the drugs, but I thought I would just go back and no big deal. Nobody would be the wiser. And that was not the case. It lasted a couple months. So, well,
there's no guarantee that you even make it back.
Right.
Some people are out there dealing with things that, like heroin addicts, right? They shoot up once and that's it. Like go, so, and so we're not all for, and even the alcoholic, right? You get drunk once and you get in your car and, and that's it. Like, that's it.
And that's it. And it's true. I have a healthy fear today, right? I have a healthy fear that I don't have another recovery in me, right? That if I do this thing again, for whatever reason, I don't know if I'll make it back. And I, so my fear is a healthy one. So I do the things. I do all the things because I really kind of like my life way better today than it was what it was before, and you would think it would go without saying, but I feel like it needs to be said. My life is way better. It doesn't all go my way, but it's still way better.
Thank God.
Right. Because if I was in charge of things,
yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that's wonderful. Good job. Good job.
Thank you. Good job to you too.
Don't forget we're on Spotify. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
share, comment.
All that stuff, comment. Let us know if there's any topics you'd like us to talk about.
For sure.
Tell us how great you think we are, because we really appreciate that.
Marissa needs the outside.
I need that outside validation. Thank you. And yeah, keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
That's all for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification button so you know when new posts are coming up. Keep coming back.